Hello, and here we are at the Ascension energy reading for this week. So we've just started June and we're just heading in. I'm just checking the date is the 5th today. So tomorrow's the 6th portal, which normally I don't kind of follow the portals so much, but this one does feel that it's got some energy coming in, or at least it has. Maybe it's to do with the full moon, but there's definitely some energy been shifting this weekend. So join me on Zoom if you wish. Every week we're on Zoom with a group of people. After this we have a think tank where we all share what we've been sensing, what we've been feeling. It's a place to help us connect with other people, but also, you know, sometimes when you get that download and you can't quite work it out, well, this is a place that we can actually discuss them and maybe find that there's some commonality and other things that we can learn from each other. I'm just setting everything up here as we're talking. So I'm on Zoom every Monday at 8 p.m. for 30 minutes. And then we do I'm on YouTube live every Monday at 8 p.m. And then we have the Zoom think tank afterwards. So if ever you're interested in joining me then, just send me a message and I'll send you the link. Okay, so I've got the YouTube up so I can catch comments on there. So hello everyone on YouTube and hello to everyone on Zoom. So grab yourself a cup of tea. As usual, I start with the same. This is a time for you to connect with the energies that I'm speaking about. It's a time for you to either listen to my words or listen to the vibrations that I'm sending. It's an opportunity for you to just take 30 minutes out of your busy week and connect to hopefully sense where in your life these things have been showing up too, because I'm sure I'm not the only one sensing these energies. I'm sure there's others. So this is why I do this every Monday. And everything we do today is creating our future. So it's really important now that we connect to the energy that we have around us if we don't want to get sort of like ascension symptoms or feel like we're frustrated or stuck, because it's pushing us faster and faster. So in the old days when we used to ignore the energies coming in, then we might have had symptoms maybe 3 or 4 months later. Now, the speed of the upgrades, like as soon as one has come through, another's coming through, but they're stacking up now, one after the other, and they can make us feel quite rough. So I found if I process them weekly, then, and I don't just process them by what I think, but I embody it as well, then I find that it doesn't seem to have such a big impact on my body. So I don't know if that's how you guys work, but that's something that we've been talking about over the last few weeks, like how do we work with these new energies that are coming in? Okay, so I think we're all set up and ready. So if anybody else is joining on Zoom, please make sure you come in with your cameras and your microphones off so that you don't suddenly appear on my YouTube. I don't mind, but maybe you don't want to be seen by everyone. So welcome to this week's Ascension Energy Forecast. And today's theme, our soul lesson this week, is fearless courage. So that's it, fearless courage. That's the energy we've been getting. Now, I just wanted to start with a bit of what's been going on over the weekend. But we've been talking about the snakes and ladders time jumps. We've been talking about how time is shifting, but also how there's a new timeline opening up. But we have to choose to cross onto it, and we have to create the vibration within our body to match it. Otherwise, we could be rejected. So my cat's just joining us again. So the timeline is kind of there. And what I was seeing over the weekend was a gate between us and the timeline. And when I tuned into it, I kind of thought, well, are we frightened to step into this bigger version of ourselves? But then the energy was too soft. It didn't feel like fear. It felt very soft. It felt very, almost just like acceptance, that state of acceptance and moving, not even moving, we were statically sitting there in stillness and acceptance. And I felt to me that maybe this was us almost saying goodbye to our past, if that makes sense. It really did have this energy of letting go of the old, but it was almost like a celebration of saying thank you to everything in the old timeline and how it helped us. And we were preparing now to move through the gate because the gate wasn't locked. And it felt like you just had to push it and walk through. But I could see also that we weren't quite ready to go through it. Now, if we haven't been doing the work, then it's possible that fear is one of the things stopping you moving forward with the gate. But if you've done the work, just let me know if you've noticed that peacefulness and that stillness and a very soft, fluffy energy that was in around this week. I think it also felt a bit like a gift. So has anybody else been noticing that energy? And the other interesting thing that I noticed was that normally a week before the month starts, I start tuning in to the energies of the next month, so I can do a bit of a prediction in my membership, so we can look at what energies we need to align with so that we can pass through the month more easily. And all last week I got, no, it's not time to do it yet. And in fact, it kept saying I couldn't do it until after the 6/6 gateway. So that to me also kind of indicates that we are literally on, it's almost like even on a mass consciousness level, the more people that are willing to say goodbye to their past and move into their future is not just impacting our individual lives, but it's going to impact the next phase for the Earth, for the whole planet, for the whole of humanity. That's what it's feeling like. So I'm guessing that's why it wouldn't let me decide until we've been to the 6/6 portal. So if you're watching this, please, let's all see if we can raise the vibration as much as we can over the next couple of days, today and tomorrow. Let's see if we can celebrate and say thank you to the past and move into the future instead. And just accept that we're going to do the work to move our vibration onto the new timeline. And I think that's where the gift of fearless courage comes in. And I think that's what was coming in on the weekend. So we've got a very intense time for me. I cried for 2 days straight with the full moon. And inner winter, is that what you meant there? I'll let Jenny just explain what inner winter means to her before I make an assumption. So that kind of not being able to see what's coming next has been a bit of a theme for this whole year, because from 2023, I got this message saying that this is a year with no form, which means you get to create it. So when I do ascension energy forecasts, it's not so much that I can forecast anything like this is going to happen, that's going to happen, because it really is down to us to make it happen. So all I've been noticing the ascension energy forecast has been given me to share with you is things we can work on ourselves so that we can create a better future. So if you look back at the last few replays of the sessions I've been doing on Mondays, you'll see that it was almost becoming how to open up a 5 or a 5th dimensional gate to your creativity, because that creativity is the source of how you make money. And connecting into your value and that creativity is really important. So it didn't say, yes, you're going to be abundant this year, or yes, your creativity is going to go off the roof. It said you need to work on valuing your creativity if you want to move on to the new timeline, if you want to make changes. So it is this is what we ask for when we ask for sovereignty, is we want to get into us being responsible for our own lives and managing our energy and whatever happens in our worlds so that we can move gracefully forward and navigating life in this very graceful, flowing way. And I think all the clues that the ascension energies have been suggesting are areas where we might not have mastered yet, so that we're not using them to their full potential. And I think that's quite key too, not using them to their full potential. We might have like stuck our toe in and paddled around in that kind of energy, but we haven't been brave enough to delve straight into it. So when I see the word fearless courage, again, I feel like when I'm channeling these sessions, the words that are coming in are energetically important. So it's not just courage, it's not just saying, fearless, it's fearless courage as a combination. So really tune into what that energy means as a concept, fearless courage. And at first, again, I was wondering, okay, is it a gift? Are they giving us that gift of fearless courage? And the answer was no. It said that we already have this inside us. And all we have to do is let it out of the box. So just open it up. And that's what I think the energies on the weekend was doing, was just softening our armor, which, love is a really great energy frequency for softening body armor, and the armor around our hearts and the protection that we put up. So it was kind of softening that, because when we put body armor on ourselves, not only are we blocking out the external world, we're also stopping our own energy grow within us. We're constraining ourselves. And it felt like this pink energy was allowing us to soften that armor so we could expand, so that we could let out our fearless courage. So what does that feel like to you when you think about that and fearless courage? sort of sense into that energy now of what it feels like, fearless courage. Yeah, somebody saying soft. That's the funny thing. This fearless courage feels soft. It's not a fighting, aggressive, attacking energy. It's actually a very, very soft energy, and it's very pleasant when you can connect to it. And in flow. Yeah, that's another nice way to describe it. So I was thinking about, it kind of wanted me to remind you of your own inner fearless courage. And there was two examples it gave me. It said that you guys, if you're following me on here, I'm guessing you're quantum humans, and or at least, you know, you're evolving with the ascension energies. You can sense them, your abilities are growing, you're getting new skills, new downloads, new ways of doing things. You might not know what to do with any of that yet, but you're starting to awaken to this possibility. And it doesn't mean that we're going to use all of this as to be a healer. That's the one thing I keep getting a lot now this last 2 weeks. We're not becoming quantum humans so we all become the job of a healer. We're becoming our own personal healer. We're using this to heal ourselves, so our vibration rises, and then just like a tuning fork, our vibration will rub off on others. So we're becoming almost leaders rather than healers. We're becoming leaders of new vibrations, leaders of holding new space, leaders of energy management, alchemists, co-creatrix. It's that kind of energy that we're leading. And others around us will notice that and want to know what we're doing. And yes, we might take people to the gates of, go and watch this video, or maybe start learning about this, but we're not teachers necessarily. We are just the beacons of light to encourage other people on this path too. So if we think of that, I know that we're all sensitive to these energies. We might be quite logical, and we haven't necessarily mastered this other side of us yet. But even if your life isn't going quite like you hoped it would, I'm sure if you look back across your life, you will find somebody else that you channeled your fearless courage to help them. Now, maybe that's what we call people pleasing. I don't think it is, but it would be that kind of thing where we've taken our own fearless courage and we've channeled it to help everybody around us and not ourselves. Can you get a feeling for if you've done that in your life or not? So that's one place, just to show you that you do have fearless courage. So I'm getting a yes from those on Zoom, so cool. So the other part is that when we're tapping into this fearless courage and using it for somebody else, why are we then not using it for ourselves? So some of the words I came up with thinking like, why are we not stepping into our best lives? What's holding us back? Why aren't we pushing forward to be the quantum human, the alchemist, the co-creatrix that we can be, the visionary? And it could be things like perfectionism, playing small. Yeah, many of us play small because we're sensitive, so we really feel when people don't respond to what we're saying, so we withdraw. We do it when we've got, I've got a list here, let me just grab that. Oh, so analysis paralysis, where we can't make a decision and we end up going round and round and round, trying to work out the best decision. And that kind of falls a little bit into being a perfectionist. Fear of change. Often we might have a past experience where things have always gone not quite as we expected every time change came along. So we've got into the habit of fearing change, maybe. Not valuing your worth. And then wondering why all the people around you are not appreciating you and appreciating what you've done. So the question is, are these problems to be solved? So we got analysis paralysis, perfectionism, procrastination, fear of change, undervaluing your worth. Are these problems to be fixed? I don't think they are. I think partly divine timing has been at play and that it wasn't the time for us to move forward until now. But I also think that the biggest problem underlying those issues is a lack of trust in the divine plan. Because I think once we connect to our soul's wisdom and to the information it provides us on the bigger plan of why we're here, the purpose of us existing, and allowing us to expand our consciousness to that divine plan, higher view of life, I think some of those issues start disappearing. because analysis paralysis is not knowing which way to go, which is the right answer, which is the wrong. If you were connected to your soul wisdom and you knew what your destination was, wouldn't your decision making be easier? And this kind of fits into the full moon as well. This is the Sagittarian shooting their arrow, knowing exactly where they're aiming for. It's that kind of energy too. Procrastination could simply be it wasn't the right time. There's plenty of times when I've been started something and just couldn't find the energy to finish it. And then a week later, it just flows, like it falls off the page. And you think, that's really interesting. And yet a week ago, I thought I was being lazy or I wasn't trying hard enough. And it just felt like it wasn't quite the right timing for it to happen. So if this is the case, then rather than looking at the problems, because being a quantum human is about finding solution-focused energies. So rather than looking at fixing those problems, let's see if we can focus on how to connect to our soul's great vision more and see if those problems fall away once we get a sense of direction. So yeah, somebody's been going through an analysis paralysis regarding her niche for her business. And now, where am I going to go? Oh, and now I know where I'm going to go, thanks to soul guidance. Yeah, perfect. So that was, I think a few years ago is what she's talking about, is that her niche wasn't coming through. But as soon as she started communicating with her soul, then the soul guidance just kind of delivered her niche to her so easily in the end. But because we were trying to think and fit into society and into what we thought we should be doing from a personality layer, then it's not always so obvious. So you can see how those problems like perfectionism and things are not the problem. It's a lack of purpose, a lack of direction. And the Sagittarius full moon is perfect for that right now. That's what we're tuning into. So we know that we've had the courage to help other people. We know that we might blame perfectionism and things like that to stop us using our own courage on our own soul path and to our own ends, to our goals and our visions. But there was something else it kind of wanted us to know. So if you're listening to this, or if it's popped up on your feed, then you are a visionary. You might not know it, you might not appreciate it or recognize it quite yet, but you are a visionary. And what it was trying to say is that so many of you guys watching this right now are doing so much in the dream time, in the astral realms. You are almost like, imagine there's two of you. There's the you that's walking on this planet being very, very logical. And there's the you that's using all that creative energy, all that spiritual alchemist energy sensing abilities in the astral, etheric, dream time plane. And there, you are using so much fearless courage. You are there fighting battles for humanity. You are there changing the energies of the planet. You are there raising consciousness. And that's not aware for you yet. Just because you're not aware of it doesn't mean you're not doing it. So if you sense into that feeling now, and we tend to use body testing to help give answers that our brain can't process, but a tipping forward of the body means a yes, a tipping back means no. So just center yourself now and just feel and ask yourself, ask your body, are you doing this etheric work? And let your body go forward or back and to give you a yes or no. And it's basically wants you to know that the fearless courage that you're using then, again, is an example of how much of this you've got, if you are now willing to choose which direction to focus it into. So I'm getting yes from Zoom. So I always thought that psychics and mediums had to be, no, I didn't think they had to be trained, because I knew I had some abilities and I wasn't trained. But I thought we had to feel it to know that it was happening. But what I'm finding through my work and the people that I'm helping give their soul vision and direction to, it shows up like, oh, it's almost like as soon as we have a session together, and I'm expecting the first one to be a little bit normal, not to freak people out, and straight away it starts showing me their etheric work and what they've been doing in the quantum realms. And it starts appearing almost immediately, like it's begging to come forward. It's just wanting that person to know what they've been doing so that they can value themselves even more. Now, I find that quite interesting. So, if ever you're wondering about anything like this, I do soul alignment sessions to help you see how much of this you're doing. Because once you know it's there, then all we're talking about as part of this week's soul lesson, which is fearless courage, is now using what you already have for your purpose, for you to raise your vibration, for you to start finding what your message is, what impact you're here to create for humanity. And when I say humanity, we always think like, oh, I don't think I've got anything that big. Your impact might be just improving your vibration. Just simply changing your vibration will impact humanity. Imagine that each of us is a column of light, and we're all acting almost like, should we call them like mobile phone masts? Let's use that as an example. So they kind of all connect, yeah? That's how we make the network with mobile phones, is through the masts all connecting. So imagine each of us is one of them. And as each of us comes online, we're creating this kind of network around us to the next person who's come online and the next person. And then everybody that's in that catchment area of that network start feeling that vibe too. And then they'll come online. So all the gaps start filling in. And then we get this huge network all around the planet of people coming online. And as each one comes on, the vibration rises. Then the next level comes on, the vibration rises. And that's when I say, you know, make an impact for humanity. It doesn't have to be creating a company or a charity or building schools for people. It can be simply raising vibration. That's what a quantum human understands, is that the vibration we hold is almost, I don't know, would I dare say 70% of the problem? I think that's what it's saying. It's at least 70% of your energy to get you wherever you're going. So if you can raise your own vibration, you can create that change, and you will find the opportunities that you need, the people that you need will all line up according to your vibration. Now, it's important to know that as we go through the ascension, our vibrations are all changing. So just because somebody's come now doesn't mean they'll always be in your realm for the next 10 years. Because as we keep changing, then our environment's going to have to change too. We're going to have to keep upgrading, just like we do with our mobile phones, you know. Every year or every 2 years, we get a new phone and we upgrade, and there's new features and then we're upgrading. And that's what we're effectively doing as humanity. So this fearless courage in the end turned out not to be what we have to, like, we don't have to struggle and find the fearless courage and like push forward in fear, but courageously at the same time. That's not what this was at all. The message was that you guys are full of fearless courage. When you came here to Earth at this time of ascension, you came because you wanted to make a difference. And that took fearless courage to come here onto the planet and be incarnated at this time. So we know that we've been fighting battles for other people and using that fearless courage for everybody else. We know that in the etheric, we've been building that the frequencies and the energetic battles with the dark that we've been doing in our sleep has been using our fearless courage. So now it wants you to know that you can create the life you want on this planet while still doing those other things, but actually now being rewarded for it and starting to see the fruits of all your hard work, whether that be money, but please do ask for money if you want money, because abundance can be anything. So it can be money, it can be the love that you want, the life that you want. But just allow your fearless courage to start now working for you and direct it at what you want. So thank you, Jenny. She said she loved that. I'm guessing that's the telephone mast idea. Yeah, that kind of hopefully gives a good visual on exactly how that works. So as I said, the 6/6 portal seems to be this point, this tipping point. And I think that's why this message had to be today, was to ensure that as many people as possible hear this message, so that by tomorrow, when the 6/6 portal comes up, we're all ready and much more motivated, or have a stronger conviction of our beliefs that we can now move forward from tomorrow into a new energy and into the new timelines. So if you've been watching this video, then please add any comments underneath. If you're watching the replay, thank you. Share it if you can, put likes on it. Let's see if we can get this to as many people as possible, so that we can start having that tipping point. You know, we're getting closer and closer to that tipping point of the ascension process. So anything that we can do to push that forward then is great news for me. So subscribe to my channel. I'm Trudy. I always forget to say at the beginning. So I'm Trudy, and my page is on Facebook and Instagram on White Star Soul Guidance. And tomorrow night I have a full moon event where, like I said at the beginning, the energies I've been sensing over the weekend is this kind of like a very soft, not a grieving even, but a very soft farewell party. So part of our Sagittarius full moon workshop tomorrow, we will do a soul journey to actually say the goodbyes, see what energy is leaving, see what energy is coming in. Because what we can do in this moment of this farewell party is say, okay, this is how the energy used to feel. These were the things that I don't want anymore. This is the energy of what I do want. And then we compare and contrast. And then it's almost like, you know, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about writing new vows to yourself. And now we're saying, well, I now vow that anything lower than what I want is going to be ignored. I'm going to say, that's not my frequency anymore. I want to make sure that my vibration automatically does not attract lower vibrations anymore. And instead, that's my new standard for what I want to rise my vibration up to and attract others from there. And in order to do that, we need to compare what we used to have with what we've got. And that's kind of what the farewell party is about, is making that connection and going, yep, I can see why I didn't like that. So that's going, and this is what's coming instead. But also understanding that lesson of that thing that you don't want. You wouldn't know that unless you met that thing in the first place. Does that make sense? So it's that, like, you had to have that experience to know that you didn't want it, so that now you can choose a better thing for the future. So feel. And the strength, like I said, the lesson is fearless courage. The strength you have is you already have it and you've been using it for so many other things. So it's just about focusing it and directing it differently. And there is a big timeline shift opportunity tomorrow on a grander sort of mass consciousness scale that might change the outcome of what June energies might be telling me when I tune in on Wednesday. But I'll put an update out when I do find that I can actually do the reading for June, and I'll share what I've got. So I hope that made sense. Yeah, so again, eager to say the goodbyes. Yeah, it's been a long time sort of like sitting between these two timelines and doing all the work to allow us to step across the stepping stones, the frequency upgrades to get across. But it's sounding really amazing now in June that things are shifting a bit more again. And I don't think, they say that this ascension process is going to go on until 2030, I think, that this 2020 to 2024 is the preparation kind of phases. But the snowball effect isn't going to be really felt until 2030. But it does feel that this point is quite pivotal and that this could make a big difference to how quickly we get everything else. Oh, thank you. So I got a message on YouTube saying, thank you for reminding me about the softness of the fearless courage. It's easy for you to forget. You don't need to be tough to be fearless. Yeah, I think that sums it up perfectly. Thank you, Judy. That sums up what the energy felt like. So I'm really excited for what we're going to do over the next few days. And I hope you all have a great 6/6 portal. And if you do want to join me for the full moon, then message me. So as I say, it's a workshop where we're going to do this farewell dinner. We usually do it in the quantum realm. So it's going to be a quantum dinner in the a farewell quantum dinner in the quantum realm. And after we do that, and we kind of bring in all the frequencies that the Sagittarian full moon has for us, which will be about direction and expanding our consciousness. Then we will do breakout rooms where I pose questions for us to just have that personal experience with the energies. So each of us goes into a breakout room and discusses the questions, because I find that community, when you're talking to somebody else, that social proof helps you become more fearlessly courage, I guess, so that you can move forward. Because otherwise, if you're just listening to me all the time, then you're just letting the information land on you. Whereas if you're in a breakout room discussing those questions, then you're starting to integrate that energy into your being, and you're starting to like cause real change, because we're all healers. We're all able to do this for ourselves. I don't need to be in a breakout room with you to cause this energetic shift. I just have to hold the space and then ask the right questions and then watch the magic happen. So I hope you all have a fantastic full moon celebration of farewell dinners. And yes, tune into your fearless courage. So I'm going to say goodbye to YouTube now and join those on Zoom. And thank you for watching. And yes, if you can like it, share it and subscribe, I'd love that. And I'll see you next Monday. Thanks, guys. Bye.